Can a small-town boy from Georgia really change the world? It was 1946, and a young boy named Jimmy Carter stood on the porch of his family's farm in the quiet town of Plains, Georgia. The world outside was changing rapidly, but he didn't know yet how much his life would be tied to it. He had big dreams, but no one knew that a boy from a small farm could have an impact on the world. He was just a regular kid, playing with his brothers and helping his father on the farm. But there was something different about Jimmy. He wasn't the strongest kid nor the smartest in class, but he had a heart full of ambition and a strong sense of right and wrong. As a child, he saw the world through a different lens. The way people treated each other, the way his family worked together, and how they loved and cared for the land all left a deep mark on him. Would he follow the same quiet life as his father? Or would something bigger call him? The tension began to build as Jimmy grew up. He wasn't content with just the simple life of a farmer. He wanted to make a difference. He wanted to do more than just work in the fields. But he faced a big problem. He didn't have the money or connections to make those dreams come true. He didn't even have the support of many people in his small town. Most of them believed the future was set, and there was no way out. Could he break free from what everyone expected of him? Jimmy didn't let fear control him. He worked hard in school and later joined the Navy. His time in the Navy gave him a taste of the world beyond Plains, Georgia. But it also changed him in ways he never expected. The people he met, the countries he visited, and the challenges he faced all taught him one thing. The world was much bigger than he had ever imagined, and there was more to life than just working on a farm. He didn't know it yet, but this new perspective would be the key to his future. Would he stay in the Navy or return home to continue his family's legacy? As Jimmy came back to Plains, the world was still full of challenges. The country was in the middle of the Cold War, and there were deep divisions between rich and poor, black and white. Jimmy could have stayed quiet, but that wasn't in his nature. He saw the problems around him and he wanted to fix them. He couldn't stand seeing people suffer because of their race or social class. So he ran for office. But it wasn't easy. His first political campaign was full of struggles. People didn't take him seriously. He wasn't the big money candidate and he didn't have a famous name. He had to work harder than everyone else, knocking on doors, talking to strangers, and learning everything he could about how to run a campaign. Was this the end of his dream, or was it just the beginning? Despite the challenges, Jimmy didn't give up. He believed in himself and in the people he was trying to help. And his determination paid off. He won the election and became the youngest person to ever serve in the Georgia State Senate. It was a huge step for him, but the real test was yet to come. Could Jimmy Carter truly make a difference, or was he just another politician? In 1976, Jimmy Carter ran for president. It seemed like an impossible dream, but somehow he did it. He won the election and became the 39th president of the United States. But becoming president was just the beginning of his journey. The country was in crisis. Inflation was high, jobs were scarce, and America was losing its place in the world. Could Jimmy Carter, the man from Plains, Georgia, fix everything that was broken? His presidency was full of struggles. He faced fierce opposition from both political parties. Every decision he made was questioned. His ideas about energy, the economy, and foreign policy were not popular with many people. But Jimmy stuck to his principles. He believed in honesty and doing what was right, even when it wasn't easy. One of the biggest challenges he faced was the Iranian hostage crisis. 52 American diplomats were taken hostage by militants in Iran. Jimmy Carter was under pressure to bring them home, and the world was watching. For months, the hostages were held, and Jimmy worked day and night to bring them back. Could he save the hostages and restore America's confidence? The world watched as Jimmy Carter struggled to find a solution. The tension was unbearable, and in the end, he didn't succeed. The hostages were freed, but not in time to save his presidency. Jimmy lost the 1980 election, and many people thought his time in the spotlight was over. Was this the end of Jimmy Carter's story, or was there something more? After losing the election, many expected Jimmy to fade into the background, but instead, he did something unexpected. He didn't leave the stage. He continued to fight for what he believed in. He became involved in humanitarian work, traveling around the world to build houses for people in need. He founded Habitat for Humanity, an organization that would go on to change the lives of millions of people. Could someone who had lost so much still make a real difference? Jimmy Carter's work with Habitat for Humanity made him a beloved figure around the world. He showed people that even after a loss, it was possible to rebuild and make a positive impact. But it didn't stop there. Jimmy also became involved in peacekeeping efforts, helping to negotiate peace treaties in the Middle East and Africa. His work earned him the Nobel Peace Prize in 2002. Could a man who had faced so much hardship truly be a hero? Even after all the achievements, Jimmy Carter didn't stop. He continued to work on peace efforts and humanitarian causes, always focused on making the world a better place. His passion for peace and justice didn't fade. He kept working hard, even when his health began to decline. Would his health hold him back, or would he keep pushing forward? In 2015, Carter was diagnosed with cancer, but instead of slowing down, he faced it with the same courage and determination he had shown throughout his life. He continued his work with Habitat for Humanity, traveled the world, and even taught Sunday school at his local church. His legacy as a man who fought for peace, justice, and human rights grew stronger with each passing year. Could a man who had already done so much continue to inspire others? As the years passed, people began to realize just how much Jimmy Carter had done for the world. He was more than just a president. He was a man who had spent his entire life working for peace, for equality, and for the betterment of humanity. His work with Habitat for Humanity, his peacekeeping efforts, and his tireless dedication to helping those in need made him one of the most respected figures of the 20th and 21st centuries. Was his true legacy about more than just politics? The impact of Jimmy Carter's life will be felt for generations to come. His work has inspired millions of people to follow in his footsteps, to fight for justice, and to never give up, no matter how hard life gets. He is a living example of what it means to change the world. What makes a person truly great? As Jimmy Carter reaches his 90s, his health may be fading, but his spirit remains as strong as ever. He continues to inspire people all over the world with his message of love, peace, and kindness. His journey from a small-town boy to a Nobel Peace Prize winner is one of the greatest stories of the 20th century. And the best part, it's not over yet. What more can one man do in a lifetime? Jimmy Carter's life is a testament to the power of determination, love, and selflessness. It shows that even the most unlikely people can change the world. Jimmy Carter may have started with nothing, but he ended up giving everything. And in the end, that's what truly matters. Could you ever do something as powerful with your own life? Jimmy Carter's story didn't end after the presidency or the Nobel Peace Prize. Despite facing health challenges and the passing years, he kept working tirelessly for causes that mattered to him. How could someone who had already given so much still find the strength to keep going? This was a question many people asked, and it was the very essence of Jimmy's character. In his later years, Jimmy took on the role of a peacekeeper and humanitarian with even more fervor. After his presidency, he traveled around the world as a diplomat, helping to broker peace deals in places that seemed impossible to negotiate. He was instrumental in the peace process in the Middle East, particularly with the Camp David Accords, a treaty that helped end the conflict between Egypt and Israel. But even after all these monumental achievements, Jimmy's heart was still set on making a difference in the lives of everyday people. How could someone who had seen such hardship and loss continue to give back? The answer was simple. Jimmy Carter never saw his work as a choice, it was a calling. He didn't do things for recognition or fame. He did them because he believed in the power of good. When he founded Habitat for Humanity, he wasn't thinking about his own legacy. He was thinking about the millions of people around the world who didn't have a safe place to live. His work with the organization is still changing lives today, building homes for those who need them the most. In this way, Jimmy showed the world that you can continue to have an impact no matter how old or tired you are. Even when Jimmy Carter was diagnosed with cancer in 2015, he didn't stop. How could he keep going when facing such a serious illness? Most people would have slowed down, focused on their own recovery, but not Jimmy. He continued to teach Sunday school at his church, continued his Habitat for Humanity work, and continued to be a voice for peace and justice. His fight against cancer became another chapter in his long history of resilience. Could the world handle another person like Jimmy Carter? Some people may have thought that after the presidency, Jimmy would disappear into retirement, but he proved them wrong. Instead of resting on his laurels, he took on new challenges. He saw life not as a series of accomplishments, but as a journey where there was always room for more to be done. Even in the face of illness, he continued to work tirelessly to improve the world. As the years went by, Jimmy Carter became more than just a former president. He became a symbol of perseverance. The world had watched him navigate the ups and downs of his life, from his humble beginnings to his success as a politician, to the struggles he faced in the White House. But through it all, one thing remained clear. Jimmy Carter would never give up. What made him so determined? Many people believed it was his unwavering belief in humanity. He trusted people. He believed in the goodness of individuals, no matter where they came from or what they had been through. He believed that everyone deserved a chance to live a better life. His work in Africa, where he helped eliminate diseases like guinea worm disease, proved just how powerful a single individual's actions could be. Jimmy's leadership in these humanitarian efforts was both personal and practical. He wasn't just a figurehead. He rolled up his sleeves and worked alongside the people he was trying to help. Whether it was building homes or working in the fields to stop the spread of disease, Jimmy Carter didn't just talk about change, he created it. What did Jimmy Carter have that other leaders didn't? It was his ability to connect with people. He didn't see the world in terms of political power, borders, or labels. He saw it in terms of people, and he never stopped believing in the potential of others. This was a key reason why his legacy as a peacemaker and a humanitarian has remained strong long after his time as president ended. Could a simple man from Plains, Georgia, really change the world? The answer was clear. Yes, he could. And he did. Jimmy Carter's legacy is something that will endure for generations. His work with Habitat for Humanity has helped build over 35,000 homes around the world. His commitment to eradicating disease has improved the lives of millions. His passion for peace and human rights has inspired countless leaders and activists. But perhaps most importantly, Jimmy Carter taught the world a valuable lesson. No matter where you come from or what challenges you face, you can make a difference. What does it mean to leave a legacy? For Jimmy, it wasn't about monuments or statues. It wasn't about being remembered as a powerful politician or a Nobel laureate. His legacy is the lives he touched, the homes he helped build, and the peace he helped create. It is the example he set for future generations of leaders, activists, and everyday people who want to make the world a better place. The world will never forget the man who didn't give up, even when the odds were stacked against him. Jimmy Carter didn't just change the course of history. He changed the way we think about what it means to serve others. He showed us all that even in our darkest moments, we can still do something good. His story reminds us that it's never too late to make a difference, and that one person truly can change the world. What will your legacy be? This is a question we all must ask ourselves. Jimmy Carter's life showed us that it's not about fame or fortune. It's about the impact we have on the lives of others. He may be nearing the end of his life, but his legacy will live on for generations. And that's something that will never fade. The story of Jimmy Carter is a reminder that every action, no matter how small, can change the world. What will you do with your life to make a difference?